Welcome back, everybody, to the podcast. It is episode number 30. I'm here with Davis Bracken and Tyler Hiatt, two of the most stand-up gentlemen in the entire universe. Gentlemen, how are you?
I'm living my best life.
I'm great.
That's fantastic. I brought these two on today because, number one, they're very handsome, and number two, they're both into farming, which, with the new direction for this podcast, I don't know where it's going to be in 5 years, but right now I want to like
5 years.
Dude, I don't know where I'm going to be. I don't know where I'm going to be, but like right now I want to move it in a direction where we just talk to people with different interests and just see all these different viewpoints of people. So these two are both farmers at heart. Is that right?
As much as I can be.
Yes, sir. Both their families own pretty sizable farms in the valley.
Yeah.
Different farms. So do you guys grow different stuff? Like, what do you grow? What is your farm specialize
We grow
in?
alfalfa, three-way, and grass.
What do you guys
And then
grow?
we grow alfalfa as well, and then we rotate three-way and two, but we don't do grass.
So where does it all go?
So ours goes pretty much just to California. So we sell to a kind of a stock, like a hay stock, like kind of a stalker, you know?
Yeah.
And he sells the hay to dairies down there, so we sell it to him, and he's just a broker, and he sells it out to other dairies.
Gotcha. So
We go to California as well with our big bales, with our alfalfa, and we sell it to the dairies down there, and then we sell it to ACX, which is like a cross the water, like
a foreign market.
yeah,
across the
foreign market.
pond?
Yeah,
So it goes to Asia?
It goes to Asia.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So is that like, has the hay prices been going down since coronavirus or not really?
Not really. It's been normal, really.
Yeah, and they really like fluctuate depending on milk prices.
Really?
So like if milk price is up, then hay goes up, but if milk's down, then hay will go down because they don't want to produce, so they have to feed as much.
That's weird.
Yeah, it is.
You guys run cows, right?
Yeah. I don't know what you'd call me, farmer, rancher. I don't know.
Is it for like a profit or is it just for...
Just for fun, really.
Yeah, gotcha. You guys don't run any cows, do you?
No cows.
What's the process like? Because I hear a bunch of terms like third crop, second crop, rake, whatever, like all those, but I have no idea what the thing is. So what's like the chronological process to farming this?
Well, normally you'd plant end of fall, like start of, like, I don't know, spring maybe? No, more before that probably. And then first crop starts May, March, and then March, April. Well, he cuts way earlier than me.
Yeah.
We're on completely different schedules most of the time. But his first crop starts in about March, and then ours is in end of April, middle of April.
So what do you do? Like what do you do to plant and then what is it like after that? Just growing it and then till it gets to the market.
So basically, once you plant it, you wait for it to get to a certain maturity. So basically, with hay, if it flowers out, so when it starts to get blue flowers in the top, its protein levels go down, and it's like TDN, so like its feed value will drop. So you want to cut it like right before it starts to bud.
Mm.
So you want to cut it right at the right maturity, and then you got to wait for it to dry. Some people call it curing.
Yeah.
So before you rake it, so you rake it together. So you bring one row into two, and then so we can talk about cutting first. Do you think? Probably. Explain that first. You go for that, Davis.
Cutting, you have a swather. I don't know how much swather is, but it's basically
Expensive.
Probably
lots
a
of money.
Probably a little spendy.
it's a, I don't know. It's a big tractor. It's a combine.
Yeah.
It's got the header on the front. It spins, and you cut the hay, and it just sucks it up and sends it into a nice straight windrow, and then you go down, cut, and then you have to wait a couple days, one day. Depends on the wind, everything. Mother Nature is a big piece of farming.
I've noticed that over the years. So the swather is the cutter boy.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
We call it a windrower.
Yeah, we call it swather.
It's swather, windrower, same thing. If you ever hear us say either or.
And those are the same as a not Columbine.
Combine.
Those are the same as a combine?
Well, it's basically,
Yeah.
that's like, I think that's the technique.
And I think more people probably understand combining because that's more people see a farm use like combines.
Gotcha.
But for us, it's windrowers and swathers.
Is there any like, because Tyler watches a bunch of videos of people in different, like around the country that farm. What do they farm versus what we farm? What is their thing like?
The guys that I watch, they'll grow corn and soybeans, so they do grain corn. So I'm not really sure what they do with it, but they take the individual kernels out of the cob and they'll dry those down and sell those on the market. And then they also do soybeans, and they'll get like soy out of those beans, like they're compressing to get like soy out of them.
Yeah. So it just depends on where you live, what you can.
Yeah, and the climate you're in depends on what you can grow.
Gotcha. Is that more profitable than like hay, or would hay be more profitable?
It all depends on who you're selling to, really.
Yeah, and also I think ours is more of a stable market because they're selling to different countries. I mean, so is Davis a little bit, and so are we a little bit, but theirs is pretty much all exported internationally.
Gotcha.
Where ours kind of almost stays more here in America. So
yeah. So after you cut or after you combine, what do you do? What's the next step?
So the next step is, like we said, wait for it to dry. So we wait till the top gets dry, and the bottom side will be a little bit wet.
You don't want it too tough, or you don't want it too brittle.
Because when you do it, we have a rake. So you pull it behind a tractor, and it has probably 8 or 10 wheels on both sides with teeth, so that it runs along the ground like this and like a V.
Yeah.
So it'll pick up the windrow and bring it 2 into one bigger one.
Yeah.
And then when you do that, you don't want to lose the leaves. Because if you go too fast or it's too dry, leaves will fall off.
Leaves are your product. Like that's they look for. They look for your leaves.
Gotcha.
Because you don't want too much stem. You want most of your leaves. Your leaves are.
And it'll make your bales heavier if you have more leaves in them.
Uh-huh.
So when you bale, you want as much
so bales dictate the price.
Well, just the poundage of the bales
weight
depends on like how much tonnage you're gonna get.
Interesting. So you plant, and then it grows, and then you cut it, and then you flip it together.
Yep, or rake it.
Rake it. Okay, and then what's the next thing?
You let it dry for 2 to 3 days, depending on weather, depending on your climate, and then they'll go in with balers, starting at. It doesn't matter really. We both have steamers, so you can bale whenever, but normally you do it at night, so when the dew comes in, you can lower your steam so you don't use as much steam. And
yeah. Gotcha. So you bale.
Yeah.
And then that's the last thing, and then you just pick them up and ship them off.
Yep, we store them in our big hay barns. So, and then I guess also we can talk about with the steamers. Like the steamer is like it has like a boiler, so it'll have soft water in it, and then it'll boil the water until it starts to make steam. So 212, is that what it is?
Yeah.
It'll start to steam.
Yeah.
And it has these big long black manifolds, they call them, that run back to the baler, and right where the pickup is on the baler, it'll shoot steam into the windrow, and the steam kind of softens the windrow and like softens the leaves and stems, so the leaves aren't as likely to fall off, so they'll stay attached to your stem.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
So isn't the guy that invented the steamer, doesn't he come from like around here?
Cedar City.
Yeah, he has a lot of family from Enterprise.
That's what I figured.
Yeah,
Dave
Staley.
That's wild.
Yeah.
You guys got to invent something like that. Something that just revolutionizes it.
I actually was watching something the other day, and he was just talking about how the idea of the steamer came to him. And he said that it was a really hot year, and he couldn't get any dew on his hay, so all his leaves were falling off. So the product that he was making was not what he wanted, and he was standing in line at a taco restaurant.
Yeah.
And they saw him steaming tortillas. So
let's just do that.
He's like, so we went out to the field and got a box of hay and brought it home and put it in his wife's pressure cooker and steamed it. And he like pulled it down. He's like, this is like the perfect, like what you want, like soft and a little wet, but not bad.
Yeah.
So that's just crazy to think about.
That is wild. That's how you make the bags, dude.
Yeah, dude, he does. He makes serious bags.
You could tell. And then like the one dude from St. George that invented that one thing for like the diesel truck that you were telling me about.
Yeah.
That has that massive house.
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
I'm not sure what it is, but it's something that he's got it patented. So every truck that has that put into its engine, he makes a certain amount of money off of it.
That's ridiculous. I wish I could. Why can't we just come up with an idea like that?
I don't know, dude. I wish I could think of something
that
like that smart.
sucks. You just gotta look at a problem and then figure out a way to fix it. That's the tough part. I'm just not a smart person.
Me neither.
I can make stuff, but it's not anything valuable. It's just audio that people can listen to. So you're interesting because a lot of people just farm just because it's a job, but you actually are one of the few people I've met that are in love with it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you like it too, right?
No, would
you say you like it?
I like it, yeah. Not in love with it, but I like
Tyler's like in love with it.
Yeah, it's like a lot of people have hobbies like sports. Like I love to play sports, but like my other hobby is just farming.
That's crazy, and that's awesome. Like I love that because that's, I don't know, it's a good job. It's hard work and you just love it, and I like that. I like when people love things and are passionate about stuff. That's sick. And it's, I don't know, it's just a job. You got a career, right?
Yeah, if I want it.
Is that what are your plans after high school? Is that what you're thinking?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, but I definitely want to get away from the home a little bit.
Yeah.
Go to college.
Yeah.
And maybe see if I find something there that I want to do, go into a different career, but for right now, go to school for a little bit, find a wife, and maybe come back and farm.
Have you ever thought about like just a different aspect of farming, like we were looking at today with the applying for colleges, like agricultural business or science or something like that?
Yeah, I have. But
just not as much as working with your hands?
Yeah.
Just not as cool?
No.
That's great. What are you going to do after high school? Are you going to stay with the farm or do something completely different?
I don't know. I'd love to do it with my dad and my family, but
Yeah.
I don't know. It's tough.
Yeah.
Farming family kind of sucks sometimes.
Yeah. I could see how that could,
Yeah.
It gets
how that
tough.
could
So
be.
I'm with Tyler. I'd like to get out, find something if I can, and if not, it's always there.
Yeah. What's like a day in the life of, like you show up to work one day, what do you do that entire day? I guess it's different summer and winter, so give us both. Summer, winter.
Should we go summer first?
Yeah.
So basically, it depends on if you're in crop. It's totally different from like when you're in between crops. So
Yeah.
we'll start in between crops. So basically, everything in between crops is just maintenance on machines, getting things cleaned and things ready to go, getting things greased, fixing things that broke down maybe. What about you, Davis? That's kind of what we do.
We do the same thing. We clean up everything, make sure it's clean, make sure it's ready to go. If our first crop, after we do our three-way, we tear out those three-way fields and plant hay on them. That's what we do in between our first and second crop.
Yeah. So then what about during crop?
Jesus, like, during crop is you just go all day long.
Yeah.
So you'll go. So you start cutting. So you probably start at 9 in the morning, and you'll cut hay all the way until probably 6. 7 in there, and so you gotta let it set your 2 days. So you'll be cutting every day.
Yeah.
But then when those first fields you cut, when those 3 days are up, you're raking that night.
Yeah.
So you're cut hay all day, and then you'll rake all night long.
Yeah.
And then you'll do it all over again.
That just doesn't sound fun to me, but that's crazy.
Yeah, I know. You don't get a whole lot of sleep, that's for dang sure.
Yeah.
But
So that's crop. You just are in a tractor all the time, constantly.
pretty much.
Most of the time.
Just running a machine.
And then what's winter like? Because you can't grow anything during
No.
winter. So what does that entail?
Winter for us is mostly just maintenance on the tractors. You change the oil, get everything ready to go for the next summer.
Yeah, and like same with us. And then we also like things that we think we could like improve on, like putting new like things on machines and stuff that can make it work better and a little bit more easier to run. We try and do that as well. And then we also kind of plan for the next year, like choose your hay seed and your three-way seed, and like kind of plan for like the next year so you have an idea going into, so you're not behind.
So that's like September, October till when? March, February?
Yeah.
Probably in April.
Gotcha. Is there like a job that you do on the farm that's just like terrible that everybody, like somebody says that job and you're just like, oh, it's universally hated?
Do you guys have a perk?
A specific job?
Perk machine?
No. You do, but I don't run it.
What's a perk machine?
Yeah, so in our valley we have like these little they're like little rodent things called chiselers. That's what we call them.
Yeah.
And they eat hay. Like they'll eat the hay down, just clear down to the ground. And we have this machine that it has these hoses and it runs carbon monoxide into the holes.
For reals?
Yeah. So you straight up, you go out there and there's 3 on each side, so you have 6 total.
Mm-hmm.
So you just find 6 holes, stick them down in there, turn them on, and cover them up with a shovel. And you do that for hours. Just all the way around the field, wherever you see holes, you have to go hit them.
And that's the crappy job?
Yes.
Seriously, you don't like that?
No, because it's so repetitive. And when it's hot, it's like 95 degrees outside. You're doing that all day long.
Gotcha.
It gets a little uncomfortable.
I can see how that would be true. What's your least favorite job to do?
Fixing fence.
That doesn't sound fun. Did you guys do a lot of that? Because you guys just brought new property, right?
Yeah.
The farm did. How big is that out there? Are you at liberty to say?
I don't know. I don't even know how big it is, but it's big. Like this one fence that we did, it was through trees, so we couldn't take a side by side or anything. We had to walk most of it.
Ooh.
So we'd go get wire, and it was probably 3 miles long of fence posts.
That's terrible.
Wood fence posts that we had to go tie up and fix wire, tighten the wire, and that really sucked.
So you would not say that farming is like an easy job?
No, I wouldn't say it's easy.
Okay, because I wouldn't either, but I was just checking. So it's pretty tough. Like, if you like to... I guess I should ask you guys, who would like farming? Like, what type of person should look into farming if they're looking for a career?
Probably if you're a busybody. I mean, if you never want to stop, or if you're always wanting to do something and always be out running, that's probably the job for you because you're always busy doing farm work.
Yeah.
Almost anyone can farm. If you got to try it, and if you like it, it's a good thing to do. Like, it makes you have a good work ethic.
Yeah.
I agree with that 100%, and it keeps you busy during the summer. That's for dang sure.
Yeah. I think I've worked on the farm twice in my life. One time I chopped thistle, and that sucked.
Oh, yeah, that's terrible.
Chopping thistle is terrible.
Mm-hmm.
For anybody that has not done it, it's a nightmare. And then I raked one time by myself. I operated a vehicle by myself once.
On the 4th of July.
It was on the 4th of July.
Baby. It was crazy, bro.
Yeah.
It was crazy. So yeah, I don't have much experience.
With us before, though.
Yeah, and I branded, which is actually kind of fun, but also not. So just from those 3 experiences, I can already tell that it's not for me because I'm really weak and I don't like working with my hands. I'm more of like I don't even know what I am. I just like to talk a lot. So it's definitely not for me. So if you're like me at all, probably shouldn't look into farming. But if you like to work with your hands, and if you like to just see stuff grow, just be in nature.
Yeah.
You know?
That's another thing. There's a lot of quiet hours with just yourself on the farm.
Yeah, that's probably why I like, because I'm kind of someone that kind of likes to keep to myself.
Yeah.
So if I'm able to be alone, I kind of enjoy it almost.
Yeah, I completely understand that. It's like, I don't know, but those night hours would just kill me. I wouldn't be able to do that. How do you get through those?
You have to stop, take a few laps around your
Honestly,
tractor.
Really?
I'll straight up get out and run around the tractor.
I'm a tired person, dude. If I get in a car for 30 minutes, it's freaking lights out for me. I get so sleepy in a car, I don't know why. If I'm moving, but I'm sitting, for some reason, it's just like lights out. So I would not be able to do that.
Yeah, but also like the fear of like screwing something up or like breaking something just keeps you awake.
I could see that. That's the whole time I was driving. I was driving in freaking midday. And I was just terrified that I would break something because those things are expensive. You don't want to mess that up.
No.
So how do you, since it's cost so much money to do that, is there even any way that somebody could just start their own farm now, do you think?
I would almost say it's almost impossible.
Yeah.
Like, if you want to get into farming, you have to be really lucky, or your family, you have to like inherit it in some way. Because there's really not a whole lot of land out there, especially in the West, that has enough water that you can actually make farming work and make a profit out of it.
Yeah. What do you think about like the new type of farming, like in the little buildings. Like
I know.
I don't know, just like the artificial farming almost. What is your opinion on that? Do you think it's good or dumb?
I think it's a good thing.
Yeah.
I mean, any way you can grow stuff to help feed people is
Yeah.
a good thing.
So you don't resent them at all?
No.
You don't have any bad blood for those
No.
people? That's good. What else? I don't know if I had anything else. That was it about farming, I think. Do you guys have anything else to say? Because if you have anything, just spout it off.
I think maybe one thing that people don't understand about farming is like how much technology is in it.
Yeah,
It's insane.
it definitely is with the GPSs.
GPS and like how they can modify seed, like the genetically modified seed.
Modify seed?
Yeah, seed. Like
Explain that.
Well, I don't really know a whole lot about it.
I
I mean,
don't either, but yeah, I know what you're talking about.
You just make it better?
yeah, like they make it so it'll like withstand weather better and it'll produce better in certain conditions. Like scientists do somewhere in a lab, I'm sure, but it's
That's
pretty
crazy.
amazing.
Yeah, it definitely is. And that's, I don't know how people did it before there was air conditioning, closed cabs,
Oh, I know. My grandpa.
FM radio.
Yeah, my grandpa talks about when he was a kid going out and raking without a cab on his tractor. He's just covered in dust,
Yeah.
bugs everywhere.
Yeah, that's not
That's
a good
another thing, the
situation.
bugs.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. What are those little bugs that are on the hay all the time?
Aphid?
Aphids?
There's multiple bugs, but aphid's probably the big one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are those damaging to the
They
crops?
Yeah, they eat the leaves, don't they?
Yeah,
Kind
they
of suck the
suck
moisture out.
yeah.
So they suck the moisture out, so your leaves are tiny and they just
That's
fall off to the
stupid.
ground.
That sucks. So you gotta get rid of them.
Yeah. So that's also more thing you do in summer is you have to check your hay every so often. So like my grandpa has this big old net, and he'll go out there and swipe through the hay.
Oh, really?
And if you find bugs, you have to spray, like
Spray some
really
pesticides.
soon. Yeah.
Because if you don't, your hay will turn white. It'll lose all its green color,
Yeah.
and it'll almost look
It'll-
yellow.
Does that happen
Yellow
to you guys?
dead.
Yeah, it's happened before. I've seen it before, but
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've seen it before too. It is not a good thing.
That's wild.
that's a lot of money. If that happens
Gone.
to a whole field, that's a lot of money gone.
Yeah. So you really have to stay up on that. 'Cause
Yeah.
If you get behind and they get like pretty thick in your fields,
Mhm.
it's hard to get them out.
What's the effect of when you spray stuff? What does that affect on the food, the product? Nothing?
It has none.
Doesn't do anything?
Mm-hmm.
Well,
That's
none
good.
that I know of. I
Yeah.
can't say that for sure. But
All right. That's all I had, man. We're only at 22 minutes, but we can talk about, I just want to get your opinion. What was your current event? Explain your current event today, because that's interesting to me.
So for our current event, have you explained what a current event is on here already?
No. It's for our political science class. We have to have, like, a news thing every week. So
Yes.
Tyler did one this
So
morning.
I went on to Fox News and was scrolling through trying to find a story that I could write about, and I saw one that brought up Herschel Walker. So Herschel Walker was a football player. He was a Heisman winner, so he won the Heisman and played for Georgia, and then he played in the NFL. And he was on TV doing an interview for some reason the other day, and it was talking about, he made a comment saying that he was kind of thinking about the Black Lives Matter organization and how, like, what they stand for. So he did some research and found out that the founders are actually Marxists. Is that what it's called?
Marxists.
Yeah, and he didn't even know that.
Really?
So he was like, I can't believe I'm supporting something that the founders are,
Yeah.
Marxists.
Yeah.
And then he was just saying that people need to understand and realize what they're supporting
Mm-hmm.
if they support the Black Lives Matter. And then he was just, because he also made some comments about President Trump. And I think when President Trump, before he was president, he was an owner of an XFL team. So that was like an old football league type thing. And Herschel Walker was maybe his player, I think.
Yeah.
I'm not 100% sure on that, so don't quote me. But I think he was saying that he's not racist. And some people just say on social media that he's racist.
Yeah, that's a super interesting thing, because I don't know where it came from. His border policy,
Yeah,
maybe.
I think maybe that.
I think he said that a lot of the illegal immigrants were rapists or were committing crimes or something, and so people just think he's racist now.
Yeah.
But it's, I hate having to defend Donald Trump because I'm not a Donald Trump fan, and I don't want to seem like I'm a Donald Trump fan. But he does get a very bad rap, and I don't understand why. like he says a lot of dumb stuff and he's super cocky, and I understand that he's not like a typical president.
Yeah.
But he gets so much hate. And the thing is it's been left and right forever. Yeah. And there have been Republican presidents in the past, but I just don't understand why all of a sudden it's like this bad. Because it's never been this bad where this section of the country just hates the president.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
What are your thoughts on that? What do you think that's from? Do you have any
just
ideas?
The sheer hate they have for him?
Yeah, just like why is it all of a sudden that like once Trump becomes president, then they just hate him and they just can't stand him being in office?
You think he has something to do with maybe like his job before the presidency? Like he was well known and had money?
It's possible.
I don't know. Maybe they don't like him for that, but I don't see a reason behind that either.
Yeah. Do you have any thoughts on that?
I have no idea. Like, could be. I don't know. I really have no idea why you could just blatantly hate someone just.
Yeah, and like you said, it's just
no
now.
reason.
It's just
it's
Donald
literally
Trump.
just been this past 4 years.
Yeah.
I don't understand.
Really don't understand it either.
I wasn't around when the past presidents were here.
Mm-hmm. Republicans, I guess.
Yeah, the past Republicans. But I don't think it was like this at all. And it definitely wasn't. I also don't like defending like the Republican Party, but the Republicans did not act like this when Obama got elected. No. And I was there for that.
Yeah.
And there was nothing. I think the biggest reason is because of the internet and how it's been so prominent. Because I said this on the last podcast when I was talking about that Netflix documentary. This is the first election where it was like social media was heavy. Like in 2012, it wasn't as prominent, and then all of a sudden in 2016, that's when it started. Like that was probably the peak of just social media usage and popularity. So I think the internet and social media has a lot to do with. I don't really know what else it could be because nothing else has really changed.
Yeah.
It's just I don't know.
I mean, I feel like people these days are just getting more and more hungry for power.
Yeah.
They want to be in charge. They want to control things.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if they don't agree with how the person that's in charge is running things, then they're going to do whatever they can to tear them down.
It's true. And I don't know. This is what people don't understand. It's always been crazy. Like the presidents, the government has always been evil. No matter who's in office, it's always, they're not good people. Mm-mm. We need to understand that. That's the like, I don't know what we do necessarily with the quote unquote republic we have here. Mm-hmm. It's very interesting because no matter who we vote, they're not going to be
liked by the half of the country.
By half of the country, and they're not gonna try and do any good for the country. They're gonna try and do good for themselves. Yeah. No matter who it is, Trump does it. Biden would do it. That's all they're trying to do. Yep. Everyone's in the business of making money.
Yeah, just so they want to have everything for themselves. Yeah. Not about doing good things for other people. Is how they can get ahead.
Yeah, which I don't know. Do you think it's always been like that? Because we're learning about how the government was formed in political science. Do you feel like it's always been that way, or do you think it was a recent past 100 years?
I feel like it's gone progressively worse as time's gone on. But I feel like even back in the 1700s when they were creating the Constitution and all that stuff, people still had personal agendas.
They definitely did.
Because they wanted to get ahead. They made certain moves so that they could get ahead.
Yeah, because nobody's just going to do anything. Yeah. Nobody's just going to say, hey, let's form a new government. There has to be personal interest in everything. Yeah. That's what people don't get. They think these politicians are just have the most altruistic values and they just want to help the world. And it's like, no. They want to make money. And anything they say to you that they're going to do for you is most likely going to be a lie. Yeah. Would you agree with that? So it just makes for a very interesting kind of dynamic in the entire country. And if you look at like certain graphs, it'll show like when social media came about, the two parties just diverged. And it showed actually in one of the graphs in our political science textbook. Yeah. It showed like this graph of how the parties were divided. Mm-hmm. And so like back in the day, they weren't as, like they were pretty, I don't know. We all had the same values kind of. So then all of a sudden when social media comes in, it just went haywire and they just went to these completely polar opposite sides. And I don't know what we do from here, to be honest with you. I don't know how to fix that.
Yeah, because, I mean, kids more and more these days are just, they want everything for themselves.
Yeah.
They never want to do anything for anybody else, and it's just going to continually get worse, I think.
Yeah. And I don't know. Again, on my podcast last time, also the documentary I watched showed how the social media companies they use, based on your location and based on your interests that you've looked up in the past, they'll give you different articles that show different facts than these other articles. So if you're a right-wing person and you're looking something up about, like, facts about abortion or something, the facts that you're using are going to be completely different from if a left-wing person looks up facts about abortion. They're going to be two different sets of facts.
Are you serious?
Because of these algorithms that these things push at you.
That's insane.
And that is causing the craziest contention in the country, because you have these people working with this set of facts and these people with this set of facts, and they both think they're factual, but neither of them are, and they're just butting heads. And it just...
That's crazy. I didn't know about that.
Yeah, it's wild. It's a wild freaking... You gotta watch that documentary, The Social Dilemma. It's crazy. So yeah, and then also in this election... This is going to be the most wild election of all time. Can we just say that right off the bat?
Yeah.
First of all, you have a worldwide pandemic going into it. Like, everything has been shut down for the past, 8 months almost?
Pretty close.
8 months?
It's what, March?
6 or 7 probably, more like. Been shut down for 7 months. Global pandemic. Freaking practically a civil war in the streets. You got civil unrest in the streets. You got just people being laid off from their jobs. And then you also have Trump, who's one of the just craziest characters in the past 100 years, that people just, they either want to kill him or want to marry him.
Yeah.
Like, there's no in between. You got Trump supporters who are in love with him, or Democrats who just despise him and can't stand him. There's no... So you got that going on. And then, just barely, which is crazy to me, when freaking Ruth Bader Ginsburg died right before the election, and now there's that where they have to appoint some new judge. It's crazy. It's going to be a crazy... How do you see the election going down this year?
I don't know, Davis, do you have anything?
What do you picture in your brain? How do you see this turning out?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't look into politics as much as I can, because I really don't care for it.
That's very good.
Yeah, I'm kind of
It's very good. I try and stay away from it as much as possible.
As much as I can stay out of the politics of the world, I try to stay out of it.
That's good. What's your view on the candidates? Who would you vote for if you could?
But thinking of today's world with how our generation is, if it was just our generation voting, I feel like it would be Joe Biden that would win.
Yeah.
But since there's the whole spectrum, I feel like Donald Trump is gonna take it, because the older generation are gonna be looking more at Donald Trump, but this younger generation are gonna be looking at Joe Biden.
Yeah, because the adults' values are more in line with what Trump believes.
Yeah.
And the younger ones are more in line with what Biden believes.
That's interesting. I could honestly see it going either way. Like, either way, no matter who wins, I'm going to be surprised and also not surprised at all. Like, I have no idea how to explain.
Hasn't Trump kind of been ahead, though, in, all this pre-polling
I'm
stuff?
Sure.
But haven't they said Biden's, kind of coming back up, catching him a little
He
bit?
might be. I haven't looked at anything, but I'm just thinking, based on... So here's my argument for Biden winning. I think when you have a bunch of people who... What's our unemployment rate at? It's high.
It's really high.
It's super high.
So you have a bunch of people getting laid off from their jobs. They don't have a job anymore. They don't have really anything to do because everything's shut down. And there's just civil unrest in the streets. So they can look at all these things. They can see how the pandemic went down and how everything just went to garbage. So they can look at all these things and say, this was under Trump's this was under Trump's administration. Yeah. Why would we vote for this guy again? I'm going with Biden. So I could 100% see how a lot of people do that. But then I could also see the opposite end of the spectrum where people see all this and think Trump's going to fix it. So I really, for me, it's a toss-up right now as to who will win.
Well, how do you blame all that stuff on Trump? Trump can't control the
I know,
pandemic.
but that's what I'm just trying to. I don't know. I'm trying to play devil's advocate here. Like I'm trying to see if I was a person who just got laid off and all this bad stuff was happening to me, and I see Donald Trump on the news, and he's kind of the representative of the country.
Mm-hmm.
I guess you kind of just get that in your head, and maybe you start associating that together. I don't know. I know a lot of people wouldn't, but I think there's a lot of people that would. And then there's also just a push for Biden.
Yeah.
On everything, there's just a push for Biden to get elected, which I don't know how. Why did they run Biden? I don't know. I think it's because he's gonna play the game, and they can do whatever they want. Because the president doesn't really run. The president doesn't do anything. It's everything behind the scenes.
Yeah.
The president's kind of just the showman.
Yeah.
So I don't think they really trust in Biden, which is very interesting. Do you think Rogan on his podcast was saying that he would do a presidential debate?
Oh yeah, I saw.
And then Trump agreed.
Mm-hmm.
What would that be like? Like the fact that probably the biggest social media influencer right now in the world is potentially gonna hold a presidential debate. Is that not just the most interesting thing in the entire history? Just the fact that when social media started, it was just people posting pictures on Facebook, and it's just progressed into... Joe Rogan is probably the most influential single person in the entire world.
Yeah.
I could confidently say that. Like, I don't know. It's just very intriguing to me.
Yeah.
That one person like that can just control such a huge...
Mm-hmm. And was that Joe Rogan's idea? Did he?
No, I think it was whoever was on his podcast said he should do that. And he was like, I'm down. And then Trump was like, I'm down. There's no way Biden says yes, I don't think.
Yeah, because Trump would destroy Biden in a...
I think you would.
Because, I mean, I don't know if... People always talk about how Biden's crazy. I don't know if he is or not, or if that's just a show or something.
Yeah.
But if what they say is true, then Trump will probably destroy him in a debate.
Yeah, if everything that everybody has said about Biden is factual, then that's... I don't think it is, but if it is, that's terrible. That's a potential candidate.
Did you hear Jed's current event today saying that Biden said that there's been over 200 million COVID deaths in America? So that'd be two-thirds of the population of our country be dead.
I don't know. I'm going to have to look that up. I don't really seek out stuff like that, so I can't...
Like, how do you come up with that? It makes literally no sense at all. And if you like have that big of a say like in politics and you're that big of a influence... How do you say something like that?
It's very...
It makes literally no sense at all.
I don't know. I think the main reason they're doing it is just because they'll play the game, and Kamala will probably be doing most of the stuff. And I think...
How stupid you have to be to believe that?
I don't know.
Like, you're stupid. There's no way that's actually real.
I pray that what he said is not true. But if it is, that's very terrifying. Like, that's one of the more terrifying things that's happened this year, is just that phrase being said from a potential candidate.
Yeah, it's like, what the...
So it is super crazy that all this stuff is going on right now. Like, this is going to be the craziest political battle ever, probably.
Yeah.
And we're living right through it, man. We're getting right through it.
I feel like they want people to be scared.
It's true.
They want fear in the people of the country, so that they make decisions based out of fear, not out of what they actually believe.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I don't like saying the media, because that's just a terrible term, but the media really does try and push
they inflict fear
certain
on people.
things. Yeah, they definitely do, especially with the whole COVID thing.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see, like, in 10 years, what comes out about this coronavirus thing.
I know.
Because something is up.
Shady is going to happen.
Something is going on that we just don't know. Because there's just so many things that don't make any sense.
Yeah.
There's just so many. This year is going to go down in history. We're living through history. And that should be comforting.
Yeah.
It's terrifying and it's a nightmare, but we're living through history. And people are going to be talking about it if there is still civilization after the new year. After the election, if there is still... Dude, if Trump gets elected, what do you think's going to happen? I think civil war.
That's way even worse than it is now.
100%, I think.
Yeah.
So that's why part of me, and maybe that's their intention, part of me wants Biden to win. So they say, all right, they're just so people just stop fighting, I guess. I don't know. But then do the Republicans turn into the oppressor?
Yeah, like, and how what Mr. Nelson said, that when Democrats were voted in, Republicans didn't throw fits.
Yeah.
And they weren't outraged and doing stupid stuff to get back ahead.
Yeah.
But
if you look at everything that's just terrible, it's happened since Trump got elected. Like, everything just is not good anymore.
I know.
Everything before 2016 was great. And life's still good. I'm not, like, life's fantastic. But it's just like, there's certain things that just don't make a lot of sense. And I'm really eager to see what comes out about them. Like the CDC, with their, like, fudging their numbers.
Oh, that's a joke.
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I don't know how you can lie about something like this.
It's just, and they chalk everything up, and they're just making a whole deal. Like, I think if certain people get COVID, I think it's real. I don't think it's a fake disease.
Yeah, it's definitely real, I think.
But I think if certain people get it, it could be really dangerous. And I think...
But I mean, it's been that way for forever.
There's been diseases forever, and
that's just nature, man. Diseases come about. That's part of
natural selection.
Yeah.
Natural selection. Darwin didn't study the finches for nothing, man. I always say it. And it's true. I just don't understand, like, what makes this particular disease so much different than the flu or just the common cold. Like, I don't understand why we took all these measures. There has to be something. Either the coronavirus is way worse than we know, than they're telling us, or it's not bad at all, and there's something to do with
making stuff up to get
something else. It could be the election. I literally don't know. But the fact that everything happened this year has to mean something.
Yeah.
I just think it has to. Like, bad stuff has happened, but this year has been a roller coaster of emotions.
And it started November last year is when everything started picking up, and then 2020 happened.
The first day we almost got into World War III.
Yeah.
That was awesome. January 1st, everyone's like, all right, we're getting drafted and we're going over to freaking Iran.
Yeah.
It's just like, I don't know what to make of it anymore. But it's a good time. We're here just living and we're just vibing. What do you think of the Black Lives Matter movement? Because I don't hear a lot of your political views ever. So I'm interested.
I'm fine with people going out and protesting for what they believe is right. But the way they're doing it, I don't agree with it at all.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to make any real change.
Like the looting and the...
How do you do that?
I think...
What point is that going to prove breaking someone's glass windows and going and stealing their stuff? Like, what point does that prove? That just makes you look like an idiot.
Yeah, I do think a lot of it is just people hijacking it and using it for themselves. Like, they see a bunch of people protesting and they're like, all right, this is the time I can go get this Samsung TV.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like, our values are just shifting to where they're not good anymore.
Well, there's been dumb people forever. And the majority, I don't know, because it's interesting that the majority of people probably aren't crazy. But the crazy people are the loud ones that we always hear. So then we just think the entire world's insane. But most people are probably pretty normal.
Yeah.
Like, most people are probably an average Joe.
Mm-hmm.
Which is super, I don't know.
But also, I remember, like, when they had the riots in Salt Lake, like in June or whenever they were.
Yeah.
They had news people there, and everyone that was talking on camera, they weren't even black.
Yeah.
They were all white.
That's
young white adults.
Intriguing. And I talked about this a little on the last podcast, is the we make mistakes as a country. Mm-hmm. We have slavery, and then just, like, Reconstruction and how they were treated.
Yeah. That was terrible.
A long time after that. Nobody's disagreeing, except for a few people, that was not a good situation.
Definitely terrible.
So the pendulum starts over here where black people are not accepted, and then all of a sudden now it came down in the middle, and then now it's on the opposite end.
Yeah.
Where it's like black people are being pushed into the spotlight. And it's like, why can't we just... I agree with bringing it to this point, where it's black people and white people equal. Everybody's equal. Yeah. Life's good. Everybody's cool. I agree with it in the center. But then when they push it even more, I understand there's issues still, and I understand there's racism still, and I understand there's racism with cops, certain ones, and I understand there's just a lot, but a lot of it has to do with culture and how there's issues with both sides, with the police and with just the certain black neighborhoods and culture that they are raised in. They're raised to be afraid of cops, and they're raised to hate cops, and then cops are just not raised, but they're trained to kind of be more alert when a black person is.
Yeah, because that's just...
Because when you look at Compton, that's what you're picturing in your mind as a police officer. It's very, I don't know. So I do think there's issues, and I do think there's issues with racism.
Yeah, I don't think racism's ever going to stop.
It never will.
It will never stop, and there's no way it can. I mean, because everyone's going to have different views,
Always.
the way they were raised.
There's
no way you can completely bring it to an end.
Yeah.
It's never going to happen.
There's never, it's like Nelson said, Nelson's just a god, is he not? He just says the craziest stuff.
That's wild.
It's like he said, everyone's trying to make the world a utopia, and it's just never going to happen.
Yeah.
And by trying to make it this perfect utopia, we've made it a lot worse than it was.
Yeah, it's way worse.
It's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, people just think we can make this world such a beautiful, just perfect sphere where everybody loves each other, but it's like, no, the only thing you can do is, in your personal life, spread love. That's literally all you can do.
You can't control anybody else.
You can't. So if you just do that and influence other people, you don't have to say, hey, you should spread more love, but you spreading love and spreading, I don't know, just goodness, it'll rub off on other people, and that will do more than, I mean, protesting is your given right in the Constitution. It's the basis of our country. It's what sets us apart, but I think just showing kindness to people in your life is going to do more than protesting and rioting and doing stuff on social media. Social media, when people do that stuff, it's just so like when they reposted all the Black Lives Matter stuff.
Yeah.
I understand you're trying to spread your message, but it's just, I don't know. It doesn't do anything for me.
No.
It doesn't make me look at anything any different. And maybe that's just, I'm just a bad person. But when somebody shows kindness to me in real life, that's when...
But it means something.
Those are the things when it means something and you want to change.
Yeah.
You're like, that person was good to me. I want to change and be good to other people too.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's going to do more than any of this stuff that people are trying to do right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's very... So the Black Lives Matter movement, I think it started off as a good thing. But now it's been hijacked. And it's just been getting out of hand. Like, it doesn't really mean what it is in the title. It's not really about that anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't have all the answers. I think we're at a point where most people are pretty accepted in society. Like, I can't really think of anybody, like, pedophiles maybe aren't as accepted in society, but most people, no matter who you are, what sexuality you have, what gender, what race, you're probably not going to get hated just based on that.
Yeah.
If you're a douchey person, you might get hated on, but that's just because you're a douchey person. You could be a douchey white guy. I don't know where I'm really going with this. It's like we can just stop. We can kind of stop. You know?
Mm-hmm.
Let's just stop and be like, everyone's cool.
Yeah. So can I go back and ask you, like, when I was talking about how it's white people that are kind of doing, why do you think that is?
Because they
don't know. They're not black. They're not oppressed.
Exactly. And that's the point. That's the problem, is they don't know. And so they feel like they have to do something because it's kind of this, I don't want to say narrative or agenda, but I'm going to say both. It's this narrative and agenda that's being pushed by certain, like, I saw it all over social media, and I see it on Twitter, and then even in the news you see it where white people are bad and they are oppressive and they owned slaves back in the day. So it kind of gives certain people this moral obligation to fight against oppression because they feel like they are causing it just because of their skin color. I think that has something to do with it. And then also just, again, back to social media, they just want to show that they're out there accomplishing life. They don't have any passions. The people that are in the streets don't really have passions.
Yeah.
especially right now, maybe at the start when everything was going down, there was good people. But if you're still protesting, like, come on. How many months has it been?
Started in June, didn't it?
Yeah, so like 3 months.
3 months, 3, 4.
Come on.
4.
Come on.
Yeah.
Go draw a picture or like paint a beautiful painting.
Yeah.
Like go find something you like and stop like these are just people that don't have anything to do and don't have any.
They just want attention, pretty much.
They just want attention. They want to be like, look, they want meaning. People are always searching for meaning in their life.
Yeah.
And so that's these kind of movements. They think they're gonna find it, but you're never gonna find meaning unless you just find what you like to do. Like with farming, and then like with this is what I love to do. What's your purpose? What's your meaning?
Purpose?
Yeah. What do you feel like your calling in life is? If you believe in a God, what do you think God put you on this earth to do?
I don't know. Probably, I think about this every day is make people smile.
Yeah.
That's one thing I'm good at. I can make people laugh.
Yeah, you definitely can.
And that's
true.
It's the truth, man.
That's one thing that I think that's my purpose is.
That's
I
good.
Make people laugh.
I like that. So this is what people need to understand, and this is what I kind of want to push with. I don't know. I want to have a following so I can push stuff like this. Is just try and have a purpose. Try and find what you enjoy doing, and then just do that more. There's not really anything else to life. Like, find what you like to do, and then just do that as much as you possibly can. It's a very simple sort of equation.
Yeah.
And that will do more for your entire life. There's, like, most of the problems stem from people just not having any sense of purpose or anything to do, and that's where you get lots of certain groups of people, like Black Lives Matter or, like, Antifa, stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Where they're like, I don't have a meaning, so maybe these people they're trying to accomplish something. Antifa is trying to kill Trump or whatever, and then Black Lives Matter is trying to...
So explain the Antifa thing to me. Like, I understand. Wasn't it like people like... was it in Seattle?
Yeah, well, that was the craziest thing. And here's my take on that in a second. So Antifa stands for anti-fascists, which... is good. I don't want fascism. Mm-mm. I'm an anti-fascist.
Yeah.
But then a lot of them are just kids that live in their basement and want, like, they just have guns for some reason, and they just show up. Like, I've seen a lot of videos where they're just in, like, masks and they just have guns, and they're just, like, blocking people. They're just, I don't know. They're like a little militia. It's very interesting. I don't know a whole lot about them, but from what I've seen, they're just kids that don't have anything better to do with their time, and they...
So, like, what's their purpose? Like, what are they trying to accomplish?
They're trying to destroy fascism in the country.
Okay.
So I think their goal right now is to get rid of Donald Trump, and just... I don't know. They kind of just show up wherever they want. Like, Black Lives Matter throws a little protest, and they're like, oh, we'll come over.
Yeah.
We'll come over and help out. But are you talking about when they made a new city?
Well, that's the only thing I know about it, but I've heard you and Matt talk about, like, they kind of, like, evolved and started doing more stuff. So explain maybe, like, the city part. So,
I did a terrible job keeping up with this, so I'm just going to give what I think I know, and if somebody can fact check me on this, let me know. It started with Black Lives Matter, I think, in Seattle.
I think it was Seattle, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I thought it was Portland, but somebody said it was Seattle.
It was some
town. I think it started in Portland and then it moved. I don't know.
It was some city called Chaz, I think.
That was the area that they blocked off. That's what they called. That's what they named theirs.
No, I thought it was named Chaz and they named it something different that was close to that. Chaz City, Seattle. What did they name it? So they named it Chop. So it was formerly known as Chaz. The Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone was what it was called. So it was called Chaz, and then they took it over. This group of people took it over and called it CHOP, which stands for Capitol Hill Organized Protest. And so basically they started their own city, I think, and they blocked off this certain portion, these certain streets, this area, and just made it their own city. And they what I heard was it was very violent, and if you didn't agree with them, they would just beat the crap out of you, and they wouldn't let certain people in. So from what I heard, and this is from pretty right-wing sources, so this could be all false, but from what I've heard, they're doing the exact opposite of, well, they're doing the exact same thing as what they're fighting against with the brutality and and like illegal immigration. They wouldn't let certain people into their city.
Yeah.
So, and I think it's all over now, but it was up for a while. And my take on that is it's very interesting. I think this was executed very poorly. But if you look at history, what did we do when Britain was getting tyrannical? We came over here and we formed a new government.
Mm-hmm.
We revolted, and then we formed a new government, and we made it better, I guess you could say, for a while. And so when stuff like this happens, it's like, it kind of intrigues me because I feel like, I don't know, maybe someday something like that could happen and work again.
Mm-hmm.
This was definitely not the move, especially right now. It just wasn't the move to make your own city. But when I see stuff like this, it's like maybe one day there might be a terrible civil war and maybe a crazy revolution, and it might be pretty bloody. But maybe after that we come up with something better than what we have, because what we have right now, it's the best that the founders could come up with, but now things have just progressed.
Yeah.
Like, minds have just progressed. So I feel like this isn't the best we can do. I don't know how. I'm not good at, like, coming up with stuff. I don't know how personally we can make it better. But I just feel like there has to be some way to make what we have here better. You know what I mean? Do you agree with that at all?
I do.
You remember how when we've been talking in class about if the people of the country are not good people, then it will never work.
Yeah.
And you're seeing it today.
Yeah.
I thought that was kind of interesting.
Yeah. The whole constitution, the whole government we put in place, the founders were banking that the people of the country would be cool, that they would be good people.
Yeah, and they'd want the best for everyone, not themselves.
Yeah, and it was like that for a while until, I don't know, until the Second World War. I think World War II is where everything kind of went downhill. That's where we introduced the military-industrial complex, and that's where governments were kind of just in it for themselves after that point, I feel like. So that was very interesting. I advise everyone to take a political... You better take it next year, political science.
Yeah.
It's just a good... Everybody needs to learn about the Constitution and how our government came to be.
Yeah.
I feel like that has to be just a requirement for living.
Yeah, especially here.
Yeah.
I mean, where we're so, like, the only country that has a constitution and government like we have.
Yeah.
It's important that the people who live under that government know what it's actually about.
Yeah. I thought I knew a lot, and I didn't. I thought I knew a lot about our country and what went on. But ever since I've taken this class, we've only been in it for a month and a half. And it's like, I've learned so much just about the foundation of the country and how governments work and what kind of it took. Just the compromises they had to make.
Yeah.
It's insane. And we were talking about, today we were talking about all the different restrictions they put on power of Congress.
Yeah.
When he was saying that the certain people in the Senate or the House couldn't get arrested because people could pay off the cops to just go arrest two people that wouldn't vote in favor of them, and so they could just rig stuff. Yeah. Like, the fact that they could see that.
They could foresee what was going to come.
And there's so many things like that in the Constitution.
Yeah.
Where they just somehow, by a miracle, saw that could be a possibility, and they're like, yeah, let's make this adjustment so that this doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Things that I would never think of. And I'm a moron. I'm not trying to say that I would, like, I'm smart or anything, but I would never think about that.
Yeah, and it's insane. Think about, like, education back in those days. People and those guys were incredibly smart. And
it was all from different philosophers and stuff. That's very interesting, too. Like Montesquieu and John Locke. Yeah. Like, these ideas have been around forever.
But they were the ones that actually came together and
they kind of took it all and put it into place. So the key to our government being made was just the sheer compromises that they made, and the fact that they were able to sit down in a room and write this up, and they all came with their own agendas, but then in the end, they took certain things from different agendas and just combined them and said,
Yep.
you guys aren't going to get this, you guys aren't going to get this, but together we'll get this. And the fact that they just, I don't know, that it just worked.
And that would never happen today because people are so set on what they want, and that's the only thing that's how it should be.
Yeah, and that's why I think that taking a class like this and learning about this is so important, is because now we all just want what we want and we don't think that it can go any other way. But if you really look at it, the best way to go is to make compromises.
Yeah.
Because maybe some things that Republicans say are correct and some things that Democrats say are correct.
Yeah, I think that's the way in both. There's good.
I think there's good in both
sides.
parties.
Yeah.
So if we just combine them or try and level it out a little bit, that's going to do more good than anything, in my opinion.
It's kind of like that, checks and balances. You got to check each other in your
Exactly. Yeah. The government's crazy. The earth is crazy. The United States is crazy. But life is good. You agree? Life's pretty good.
Yeah.
It doesn't... Most of the time, what's going down in Washington doesn't affect you. It is kind of annoying that this is the best we can do right now. But in all reality, you just find a pretty girl and you just make a couple hamburgers. You just grill some steaks in your backyard. You just find a pretty girl or a pretty boy and you just find a cool dog and you just make a hamburger. Like, that's all you can do.
Amen.
And you watch football.
You watch college football on Saturday.
You watch college football on a Saturday. There's beautiful things in life. That's what we gotta remember.
Never focus too much on the bad.
You can't.
You have to focus on the good to be happy.
Stay away from the media. Except for this media. Thank you for listening. Thank you guys for being on. I really appreciate this.
Solid. You brought that around to make it sound
Yes,
good.
sir. Yes, sir.
That was insane. That was pretty good, you do.
Thank you. Thank you guys for coming on. I appreciate this. I know this isn't your forte generally, but that's really epic that you guys came on
Yeah,
to talk about some farming and some politics, baby. That's epic. All right, I'll see you guys next week, episode 31. We got a special guest coming on this one, boys. It's gonna be epic.
It is. Can't wait.
Tune in. Peace out. Love you.